good morning to Madam Norida binti Muhammad Darus. I am Eu Leon. Matric number 278038 will present the individual assignment 1, which is to study the application to identify the existing functional and non-functional requirements for GeoGebra graphing calculator. GeoGebra graphing calculator, developed by GeoGebra, is an interactive mathematical graphing calculator mobile application that enables users to convert any calculation equations into a graphical diagram plotted on a graph. This application, which is both available as a free mobile application and a web-based app tool, has a range of inputs from plotting data, equation solving to class data analyzation, which eases students in terms of mathematical work. This application is also applicable in examinations, especially in exam mode, which prohibits users from attempting to cheat by screen pinning. Apart from the elimination of the geometric construction features, for example midpoint, in exam mode. To fully utilize the features of GeoGebra graphing calculator, especially saving graph, a GeoGebra account is required to sign into the application, although this is not necessary and optional. And this graphing calculator mobile application is now available via Google Play for Android users. So we are going to begin with the functional requirements for GeoGebra graphing calculator. First of all, the first requirement ID RMS01, which is the registered GeoGebra account. So the use case begins when the user presses the sign in button. During the sign in button, users are able to choose whether they want to use their email or username to sign in for their account. Or if, let's say, if someone wants to create an account, they have to access to the web browser to register for a GeoGebra account. Or else, you can also use your social media, for example, Google, Microsoft, Office 365, Facebook, or Twitter to register or sign in to GeoGebra. So, for example, if you want to sign in using your GeoGebra account, so you begin with the email and password, for example. If let's say if I type the wrong password, it says that the given username or password was wrong. So if let's say if I press forgot password, please provide an email address or a username to initiate the password recovery process. So the system to send the email verification email for you. However, you can choose to continue without signing it now. So if let's say if you type the email and also the password or the username or password, you can press the sign in button. Upon successful sign in, you can see that your user account can be shown on the site. Requirement number 2, which is input algebra equation RMS02. User can type the algebraic equation, for example, like you want to create for example, a linear equation or a quadratic equation or a logarithmic equation. If let's say the equation was typed wrongly, so it will have a null, it will show an error for an unknown comment. Or if let's say someone typed a wrong equation, so an unknown comment error will be shown. The system will also display the equation on the graph. And also at the same time, the user can undo or delete an algebra equation. For example, I want to delete this, it's okay. So user can also clear all inputs on the graph. For requirement 3, we can select a mathematical tools for GeoGebra graphing calculator. So we'll select the tools part, and you can see there are several basic tools. Apart from the basic tools, you can edit the tools, showing the points, lines, or others. For example, if someone wants to create a line, for example, a normal line, it will display a brief introduction on the tool selected. So you can move or display select the points that you want to choose, and there is a line that will be shown. So if you see the algebraic equation, it will show the functions of the line. So what if I want to customize the appearance of the lines, graph, and points on the screen? So I can select the color of the line, or I can select the style of the line, or I can adjust the size of the point too. Also, I can also rename the point. And also, users can also move and or delete the objects displayed on the graph. Therefore, I can also select several points to create a best fit line. What I need to do is to select a random number and edit it by selecting the objects. After selecting the objects, you click the best fit line button, so it will select several points or list of points. And you can check the algebra details. For RMS04, create a table values. Today we are going to discuss about the table of values from the functions available. So what should I do is to creating a table. So before I select the tables of the functions, it says that the table is empty. So what should I do? I'll select the settings part of the equation and select the table of values. So I can choose the start value and also the end value. For example, I would like to -3 and value as +3 and press OK. Therefore, it will show the exact values of each function. Let's say if I want to add another function, I can also edit it by selecting the table of values for gx. So let's say if I want to edit the values, it's also okay. So I'll select to 2 until -2. But what if I forgot to add the end value? An error will display so that I should enter a number. So let's say if I want to select the start value for x, what if I select 9 and the end value as 2? It will say that the end value for x must be greater than the start value for x. So I select +2 and the value is successfully edited. So I can also delete the table function by select the remove column part. Next, we'll begin with the fifth requirement, RMS05 saving current graph. For registered users, for example, you can select clear all or save button in order to save your current graph. So let's say if you want to select clear all, it will say, do you want to save your changes? So you click save. You can rename according to your preferences. For example, I would like to rename it as graph 2 and I select OK. Therefore, it shows that the equation has been saved successfully. So what if I want to open the application? So I select the open button. And if you can see right now in the GeoGebra resources, you can select graph 2 in order to open back your last saved equation. So what if I've already signed out of my account? Let's say if I want to save account without signing in. Therefore, a GeoGebra account is required in order to save your equations and graph. And finally, the last requirement for this GeoGebra graphic calculator is to prepare the exam mode. As I already mentioned before, the exam mode prevents students from cheating during examinations. Let's say if I want to activate exam mode, it says that you need to switch to airplane mode and turn off the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth to continue. So what should I do is to make sure that the Wi-Fi connection and the Bluetooth connection to be removed, and I switch it to flight mode. So after I already switch on the airplane mode and begin the exam mode, it says that we need to turn on the pin windows. To unpin this app, we need to touch and hold the resend and back buttons at the same time. So the screen is going to be pinned and the exam will begin, that staying that status bar shows timer information during the exam. So as you can see right now, if the screen is being unpinned, if the screen is being pinned right now from the beginning to the end of the examination, it will display a green screen and I can select the exam details. It says that the exam mode is okay. But let's say if I want to exit the exam, it will show a confirmation message, so I can select exit. So it says that the graphing exam mode is okay and the details will be screenshot. The screen will be unpinned and the screenshot of the exam log will be displayed. But what if I select to unpin the screen, for example, if students attempt to cheat during the examinations? Now the screen will be unpinned and there is a warning message displayed on the exam details. So if let's say if someone exits the exam log will display an warning message. Since we have already discussed about the functional requirements RMS01 to RMS06, therefore we are going to discuss about the non-functional requirements, which are reliability issues and usability issues, both RMS07 and RMS08 respectively. For the reliability issues, for a single user, the system should crash no more than once per 1 hour, which is under the requirement ID RMS0701, whereas for the requirement ID RMS0702, if the system crashes, it should behave perfectly normal when reloaded again. As you can see right now, the reliability issues RMS0701 and 02, both priorities are mandatory. For RMS08, which is usability issues, a user should be able to add an equation to the system within 10 seconds per equation, and the system shall save the last edited graph when the application is closed and reopened, which is both stated in the requirement IDs RMS0801 and 02 respectively. Also, both priorities for both usability issues are mandatory. So that's all from me. Thank you for watching this presentation.